All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakha Kodash. I want to give double honors to my apostles and others, great millstone, who teach very well while not this truth from, and salutation out there to the hopeful elect who continue to push this word in our truth, faith, and sincerity. And today, man, just basically, I'm going to name this video The Original Gangster, you know? Because black culture, black on black crime, the Bloods and the Crips, that spirit wasn't just conjured up upon the planet Earth. It's actually a nation of people who actually bring this spirit upon the earth, man. And this people is none other than the so-called white man. Now you can say, yeah, the white man ain't got the Bloods and the Crips, but this is in a bigger form. You know, they have the Democrats and the Republicans, the Russians, and the Americans. You know what I'm saying? Just showing you the characteristics of the devil, man. Now, real quick, I just have the word gangster, just a regular Google definition. It says a member of a gang of violent criminals. Now, again, that word criminal, if you have the understanding, it actually goes back into the word crimson. You know, and that crimson is a red color, which puts the Edomites upon the scene. But guess what? Let's go ahead and get this. This is the book of Psalms 140 and verse 1. It says, to the chief musician, a psalm of David, deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man, preserve me from the violent man. And again, once you go into that word gangster, it's actually a gang of violent criminals, because that's what these people do, man. They actually come together to do what? To fight against the nation of Israel, or even to lead the nation of Israel astray onto a path of death, man. You know, that's the MO of the devil, because you read continuing on, it says, which imagine mischiefs in their heart, continually are they gathered together for war. Yes, and they gather together for war, whether it be the war on drugs, you know, the war on immigrants. Not too long ago, Trump bombed a Venezuelan fishing boat under the banner of the war on drugs. And it's clearly known that it was quote unquote mistaken, but this guy haven't put out an apology for none. You know, men's lost their lives, you know, just on a serious note, families lost their fathers and things like that. But guess what happened? Ain't nothing wrong in the eyes of a gangster, because one tactic that a gangster do, number one, is manipulation. You know, manipulating and try to work away, but also intimidation, man. You know, this everybody upon the world is kind of scared of this guy, fulfilling the scripture, who shall make war with this beast. And the reason why they're scared of him, because this guy, he is the embodiment of the sword. You know, going back into Cain and Abel, all the way up into now. He created an ICBM nuclear missiles, and that's the weapons that we're known about, man. Imagine the bio and chemical warfare that he's conjuring up behind closed doors, man. But again, this is what a gangster do. He manipulates and he also intimidates, man. And this is why the whole world is low-key afraid of the so-called white man. Because he's a gangster and he's terrorizing the whole planet Earth. Continuing on in verse 3, though. It says, they sharpen their tongues like a serpent, out of poison is under their lips. Because again, through the Democrats and the Republicans and the different governments that these people control, guess what? They can push forth different laws and legislations, you know? And again, let's go ahead and get another one. These are the people that's pushing forth this wicked vibration upon our people. Now let's go to St. John 8, and we're going to go to 44. But now we finna go to the gangster meaning, then we're going to go to etymology, you know? Now again, the same thing, member of a criminal gang, right here, a member of a clique in control, right there. Why is that word control right there, man? In control of the local government, related to gangsterism. Now, you know, that's kind of intriguing too, man. Gangsterism, man, because that's the embodiment of Esau. Behavior methods or of organized criminals, often involving violence intimidation, and illegal activities like drug trafficking and extortion. And the reason why Trump probably want to do a war on drugs, just like Ronald Reagan, he's one of the biggest dope dealers. Even then, since you bombed the Venezuelan boat, what about that boat that was seized in China a couple years ago that had over so million dollars of cocaine in it? I think it was like 300 million worth of cocaine that was on a cargo ship boat. But guess what happened? They turned a blind eye on it, man. Why? Because they are part of this criminal organization, man. You know? Now, again, another word for the word criminal is what? Murderer. Let's go right here. This is the book of St. John 8 and verse 44. It says, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. And right there, man, because ultimately Jake follow after the ways of the wicked. You know, they follow after the ways of the heathen, and ultimately that would leads Jake into a false sense of hope, but also a degenerate state of mind. Why? Because you joining yourself with somebody who is a degenerate. Here it goes right here, Sirach 13 and 1. He that touch a pit shall be defiled therewith, and he that have fellowship with a proud man shall be like unto him. And that's what happened for the people who want to make it in this society, want to make it into America. You have to be in that gangster mindset, you know, whether it be, you robbing, stealing, and killing, or you having that slick tongue to be a political figure or whatever. But just going back, you trying to make it in this system, you're going to have to join yourself into the so-called white man, which ultimately is death. So let's go back into this St. John 8 and verse 44. Because again, that's what happened. Once you join yourself with Esau, now crack cocaine got into your neighborhoods, the murder rate went up, And it wasn't just because these people are just so bad and angry. No. It was actually a people that gave these people tools of destruction, And it's even so bad, even the Edomites, who's on that stuff, who's on that ball, that girl, they have to come to the hood to cop, But again, who the one that leads them to that way? Esau, Edom. Read this again. Ye are of their father the devil, and the lust of your father ye would do. Now this is Yahweh Shai basically talking to 2/3 of our people. Why? Because they was in the mindset of the Romans. Just like today, niggas like Deacon in the car in the side. Guess what? They're in the mindset of an Edomite, man. Their daddy is Vocab Malone. It says he was a murderer from the beginning. Going back into the word gangster. Another word for gangster is what? Murderer, assassin, criminal, robber, bandit. It says he was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Yes, because ultimately, through the lies, the false hope that Esau gave Jake, guess what? Jake is hanging their head upon that. Everything that the so-called white man told them, Jake is leaning upon that, not knowing that he's lying to you, brother. Not knowing that ultimately he's trying to preserve himself. Because when it comes down to you and him, he's going to lead you further down that deep ditch so he can use your back as a booster seat to climb himself out, man. This guy really don't care about you. You're going to really see it, especially when Yahweh Shai come upon the scene, man. Let's go right here in Isaiah 31 verse 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because there are many, and in horses because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh Shai. And that's how a lot of gangsters is. They might look tough and shit on the outside, but inside they're very weak, That's why a lot of niggas who so-called hood legends, they get hit with a RICO charge and they fall apart. Young Thug. Perfect example, man. So just imagine his father Esau, how he would react when bad things come upon him, man. And this is saying too, there's no honor amongst thieves. So once you get taken down with this guy, it's not like he's gonna help you out. And when you down bad, he's gonna lift you up. No, man. He's gonna continue to push you down that way of death. And Jake don't realize it, man. NBA Youngboy, and once you go tap into these people like Future and NBA Youngboy, and you tap into their music, music is really supposed to be poetry. They don't even like their own music, man. Future even said, yeah, I don't do any drugs. I just rap like that because it sell records, man. You know? Let's go on. When you go back into Future, Future was a poet, man, back in the Dungeon family. Even though he did sell little things like that. But at the same time, a lot of people or celebrities in this society, in order for you to get into that top spot, you must lead the people astray. Continuing on, it says, yet he is also wise and will bring evil and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity. In black culture is a part of them that work iniquity, man. Because black culture is what Esau came up with in the lab, so Jake can be proud about their wickedness, man. So Jake can be proud about their mishandling of life, So that's why the Lord is going to take you down too with Esau. It says, now the Egyptians are men and not the Most High, and their horses are flesh and not spirit, which means what? They can be tempered, It's not solid. It's subject unto change in any given moment. When the spirit is undefeated. Continuing on. It says, when the Lord stretch out his hand, which is Yahushua, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that hopeth shall fall, and they shall all fail together. So hand on hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. Why? Because you trusted in the OG, the original gangster, Esau Edom, man. The murderer, the guy who brought chemtrails and death upon the world. Even you go into Jake, the AK-47, the Smith & Wesson. Who are these guys who making these different weapons, man? That's who should be the blame, Who gave them the tool to get a Smith & Wesson to shoot somebody over a drug deal, man? Where the drugs come from and where the gun come from, and ultimately, who gave y'all these tools to do that? Continuing on, let's get this in Isaiah 30:1. It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. Because that gangster spirit, that's what cover these people. That's what keep them, quote unquote, protected. Because you so-called hard and tough, just like Esau Edom. You want to meet a real gangster, meet a damn Marine from Desert Storm. You know what I'm saying? And they ain't nothing to play with. But guess what? A modern day YN or a nigga that was a Crip in 2008, they have a similar spirit. And the reason why, because their spirit comes from Esau Edom, man. It says that walk to go down to Egypt and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. So you could be like, yeah, man, black people, they don't really trust in these Crips and Bloods, they don't even trust in the government, which really they do by the way of EBT and Section 8, but even their drugs. A lot of these big drug dealers, they know what comes in and what comes out. They pay off the cops and everything. And this is a well-known thing that goes on, not only here in the South, but throughout the whole United States. There's cricket cops everywhere, man. But the reason why the cricket cops are on the force, because that's what makes this system goes around. So again, just like, Jake need Esau, Esau need Jake. For what? To get that work off, man. And to continue to lead the people astray. Continuing on, though. It says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion, because you thought this was going to be the better way of life. But the only thing it did made better was it quickened your death, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's pretty much it. Esau, he's the original gangster, the original murderer upon the planet Earth, and he's a violent clique of people that govern up to lead the people astray. especially our people. So yeah, I pray this video is edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, HaKodash. I want to give double honors to my apostle, elders, great millstone, and Shalom.